I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pastor Aaron. One other announcement, we will have, there's some press here today, and we will have a time for some question and answers after our candidates have been announced and will speak. So at this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to the Vice Chairman of the County Board and the Chairman of the Finance Committee for the County Board, Mr. Ted Pappas.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome. The great President Ronald Reagan once said that the role of government is to not tax or to regulate or to subsidize. The role of government is to govern. And that's exactly what we have been striving to do as a county board for the last 11 months. When the new county board was sworn in last December, the county faced a real budget deficit of about $1.2 million. A staggering amount considering the size of our overall operating budget. When you look at a general fund operating budget of about $6 million, and then you look at a budget deficit of almost $1.2 million, you can do the math and see how staggering it was for this new county board to have to deal with. And we have worked very hard in a bipartisan way, and I give a lot of credit for a lot of the successes that we have had this year to the other side as well. Jeff McWhorter has been a very fair and balanced chairman. As Republicans, as you know, we are the minority currently, but that's going to change next November. But we have 4 county board members, Dr. Ann Sue and Fred Ruth and George Howard and myself, and we have been given leadership roles and positions on our county board. And we have taken that very, very seriously. So what's happened over the last 11 months? Well, through the insistence of the county board members, we finally entered into an intergovernmental agreement with Cook County. That proved and has provided to be a huge income stream into the county coffers. That was something that we continued to hear in prior years, that this agreement was coming. But this county board got that job done. We put a hiring freeze into place. We worked very hard with the department heads to not encourage any new hiring. That had an impact. We looked at other areas of the budget, including insurance and other places where we could look at reduction. And over these 11 months, we were able to bring the actual deficit from $1.2 million to only a couple hundred, about $250,000 for the year that will be ending December 1, 2013, or November 30th, 2013. So you can see that this county board inherited clearly a $1.2 million general fund deficit, and through a lot of hard work and bipartisan support, we narrowed that to a $250,000 deficit. And this year, for 2014, we are going to have a balanced budget. But here's what's important about that balanced budget that we're going to be voting on here in a few weeks. This is the first year in probably 20 years, and I don't know for a fact, but I know it's been a long time, that the county board will not be approving a budget that has up to a 4.9% increase on the property tax side of what the county pays. For years, the county board automatically put that in because if you stayed below 5%, you didn't have to have a truth in taxation hearing. This year, the budget committee of Ted Pappas, Jeff McWhorter, and Larry Stone said, no, we are not going to have an increase on the county portion of property taxes. So we stand now and we look back at the last 11 months and we are encouraged. I am encouraged. I believe that the leadership on this county board, especially the Republicans, have provided the kind of fiscal discipline that is necessary as we go forward. Make no mistake about it, this county board has also attempted to reduce regulation, and let me stay there for a second. We passed new zoning ordinances in July that make it easier for small and home-based businesses to start. We've made it easier for agritourism to flourish in this county. And those are the laws of the land. And I know that upset some people. And they looked at that and they've tried to undo it. But at the last county board meeting, the county board said these were the ordinances that were approved. These are the ordinances that are going to stay in place. And when the ordinances come back from the ZBA, only at that time will those ordinances be stricken down and the new ones put in. But make no mistake, there will be minimal changes made because what was approved by the county board unanimously, 9-0 in July, are great ordinances for business and small business growth. It'll be an incubator for small business growth and agritourism. And I'm very proud of that. We are very proud of that. That'd be a great time to clap. So as Ronald Reagan once said, regulation and taxation is not what government is supposed to do. What the government's supposed to do is to govern, and I believe our county board has governed this year for the first time in probably a long time. And so with that, I'm excited for the next year. I'm excited for what's going to happen in 2014. Just think about it, folks, what can happen if you give us the majority on the county board. We've been working with a minority and have gotten all this done. Think about a majority and what we could get done for business, for individuals, getting government out of the way and getting private enterprise into the arena. That's what we need, more private business and development in Mercer County. I'm very proud of what we've done and I'm encouraged for our future. Thank you very much. God bless you and may God bless America.
Thank you, Ted. I think it was 3 times you told me no, you weren't going to do it, you weren't going to do it. And I was persistent. And I'm real glad I stayed persistent with this guy because he's been an extreme asset to Mercer County and the Mercer County taxpayers. He's done a great job and my hat's off to him, definitely. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Mercer County Republican Vice Chair, Barb Child. One of the hardest working ladies that I know, and she is going to introduce our candidates for the 2014 primary.
It's time to meet our candidates, but first I'd like to commend all of them that are running for office. It is not easy to put your name out there, to get on the ballot, to go in front and face the public and run an election. I know, I've been there, and many of you in the room have been there, so I commend each of these individuals. First, we'd like you to meet our County Treasurer. Sandy Bull is an Aledo resident with an extensive background in banking, and she currently is the City Treasurer for the City of Aledo. Sandy?
I didn't know I was going to have to talk now.
You're soon to be a politician.
Yeah. I don't even know what I want to talk about, except I'm excited for running for the Mercer County Treasurer. Mercer County deserves a Republican county treasurer in there, somebody that is strong, somebody that has experience, and has been in this county for years and years and years. I could read a little bit about my profile. Like I said, I didn't know I was gonna have to talk. Chuck, thank you for not telling me. But I did start my career in 1974. I started it in banking. Was in banking for a little over 35 years. I've been AVP of a bank and the National Bank. And right now I'm currently office manager of Loving Plumbing and Heating. As you know, I'm city treasurer, and I guess that's what really got me to go forward on this, is because I ran for, and got my name out there in the city, and I won. I was proud of that, and I want to continue doing this, and I want to do the best for the Mercer County people.
Very good.
The county clerk's office. Chuck Geisey is an Aledo resident with an extensive managerial background in the private and nonprofit sector. He's also an experienced career communications specialist who will raise the level of public information available from the clerk's office. Remember, the last 2 years, Mercer County has gotten 8 points out of 100 for transparency on our county website. That will change when Chuck Geisey's in office.
I think that's a real key point. The public information that is lacking in this county just makes me crawl sometimes. I want to get in there, and my experience has been in the communications industry as a newspaper editor and journalist, then switching the other side of the fence as a marketing communications professional. So I know what it's like to have public information available that people can have access to. Our county's website is lack of a better word, a disaster. It has the lowest possible ranking you could have in the state of Illinois. Granted, at least we have a county website, but from 2005 until 2011, it was a single page that was out there and had some basic demographic information. 2011, the county contracted with Bi-State Regional Planning Commission and created what we have today. It has not been updated since then, and the information is severely lacking. If you look at some of the surrounding counties' websites, there's an abundant information available on those. Information from forms you can walk in, and you have to walk into the county courthouse here to get them, whereas other counties you can download them online. List of public officials throughout the county from every possible thing. Elections don't even go there. I mean, you can't even find election information on the county website. So I think there's one thing I really want to stress is the fact that we need to increase the level of public information that's available and have that information out for our county residents. It's not. I feel I can bring a strong background to that office with that. My background is in leadership as a manager, and I certainly feel I'm well suited for this position. We sat here and thought about different people for different positions, and this position's a match for me. It really is. I'm chomping at the bit to get in there and really make a difference in our county. I think that our residents deserve a county clerk who serves them and makes it easy on them without having to make people work to get information from this county. There's so many facets of that job. It includes the recorder's office as well, and I think there's a lot of improvement that can be made. Things won't happen overnight, but we can certainly make things happen, and the website is definitely a step in the right direction. I think that needs to go and needs to be fixed and changed. So I appreciate your support, and I'm looking forward to your votes in the election. Thank you.
The final countywide office being contested next November will be for Mercer County Sheriff. George Howard is a rural Aledo resident who is a decorated military veteran, former law enforcement officer. He is also a current member of the Mercer County Board, and he serves as the chairman of its law enforcement committee. George Howard, candidate for sheriff.
Unlike Sandy, who doesn't like to get up in front of people and talk, I've been accused of talking too much, so I'll try not to do that today. A couple people asked me today, and I've been asked this as I've gone to several events throughout the county, and I do take every opportunity to wear these badges, and the reason I do that is because a real smart colonel one time told me that is a symbol of your sacrifice. People know by looking at that there's nothing you won't do to accomplish the mission. Do it correctly and do it honorably. And I took his advice on that, and I do wear them every opportunity I get. I'm very proud of 22 years service, 22 years, 16 days in the United States Army, and I will continue to wear them.
Thank you.
That being said, I want to go back and talk a little bit, just touch on what Ted was saying about the Mercer County Board and the great things that they have done. We really have done a lot of great stuff. And people say, well, it can't be done overnight. Well, we didn't do it overnight. It took us 6 or 8 months, didn't it, Tim? And we've done things on this board, people, that the state and the federal government absolutely refuses to do.
That's right.
We're balancing a budget, and we're not raising your taxes to do it.
That's right.
And there should be some people from the state down in this room right now, and the federal government, taking notice of that. We're doing what they absolutely refuse to do, and we're doing it bipartisan.
That's right.
As Ted pointed out, we got 4 Republicans, we got 6 Democrats, but we, from the very start, reached across the table and said, we're going to work with you on these issues, but here are our goals. We made that perfectly clear, did we or did we not?
Yes, we did.
These are our goals. And by hook or crook, somehow we're going to get there. And those, and our Ds on the board, most of them saw the logic in it. We're not asking to do anything that can't be done. We're not asking to do anything that we're not willing to do ourselves. And I think that's the big issue. If you're asking people to make sacrifice, you make sacrifice. Okay? And I'm going to continue. I've had people say too, well, why are you continuing to do this? You got 22 years in the Army, you're retired, you don't need to do this, you don't need to be on the county board, you don't need to be sheriff. What do you need to do that for? It's not for the money, people. It's because I care. It's because I care about this county, I care about the people in it, and I care about the visitors to this county.
Amen.
Now, that being said, I can care less about the money. That being said, this county's, I ran for sheriff in the year of 2000. Didn't do well, okay? Because, well, a lot of reasons. But the issues between 2000 and now in the sheriff's office have really not changed a whole lot, okay? That's what I want to tell you. They've built themselves a little palace down there and put walls up around it, and they don't want anybody to know what goes on in there. And that's been going on like that ever since I moved back to this county. I moved back here in 2000, and that's the way it's been ever since I've been here. They don't want you to know what's going on down there. It's our palace, it's our castle, we provide the security for it, and we're going to do what we want. And I'm just telling you that if George Howard is sheriff, that's not the way it's going to be. We're not going to have a private palace, and everybody's going to be able to see what's going on or hear what's going on down in that sheriff's department. You know why? Because it's yours. It's yours. It's not mine. We're just the keepers. We're just the keepers of the palace. That's all we do. That's all we're supposed to do. That's not the way it is, but that's the way it would be if George Howard is sheriff. I would manage your sheriff's department and your jail for you.
That's right.
But it's yours. So I would appreciate your support. I offer those things, and I tell you that's the way it will be. And all of my deputies will think that same way, because I'll be out there at midnight riding with them on a regular basis, making sure they're doing, they will, in other words, they'll have adult supervision. Ride with them. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. And I think you all know by now that a good gunfight in the middle of the night doesn't scare me. Okay? I'm not scared of that. So all I can say is bring it. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Going to the county board races, in District 1, Jason Sossman, a rural Aledo businessman and chairman of the Mercer County Republicans Central Committee, is running. District 1 includes 6 precincts: Abingdon, Keysburg, North Henderson, Ohio Grove, Suez Townships, and Mercer Township, except for the city of Aledo. Jason Sossman.
I think I was just up here a little bit ago, but now a little different circumstances. First of all, you know, most of you know me, but I want to kind of give you an overview of what I have done over the last several years. One thing, I'm a very active member in the party itself, and I do make sure that I attend virtually all the county board meetings, try to go to the finance meetings. I want to stay educated, I want to stay informed as to what is going on in our county. I spend a lot of time with our elected county board members and trying to look at what's going to be the best option for our county. I have been instrumental in bringing forward the public comment back to our county board. We did not have that for years. Under the past leadership, they would not allow the public to speak. It's a state law, and they would not allow the public to speak. And as I worked with the Attorney General on this topic, we finally got it back. There's been, I'm a firm believer that everybody in this county should have a voice, and that voice should be heard. There's a lot of people that like to stand back and you know, sit back in the shadows, but as all of you know, I'm not one of those people. I like to be in the dogfight, so to speak. So, you know, and Ted touched on the topic of business in this county. There's nothing better for a county than to bring new business. We have some great businesses already in this county, and you're going to get to meet one of those business owners a little later on today. But my question is, why can't there be complementary businesses that we bring in that will work with these businesses and increase the tax base? I mean, there's nothing better when you're creating jobs and you're creating a better tax base on those guidelines. You're loosening up the noose that is around every homeowner that lives in this county. And that is what we need to do. The taxpayers, the homeowners, are paying way too much in tax. And there's a reason for that. It's because they put it all on their backs. Because we don't have anything else. But we've got a great county here. We've got a million opportunities. We've got a river. We've got 67 that travels through here. I mean, that's a very well-traveled highway. You know, we're not that far away from the Quad Cities. We're not that far away from Galesburg and Monmouth and Burlington. You know, we are in a county that could have ample opportunities. And we've got to get people elected to our county board that will do that. They will go after and talk to these businesses and try to bring them down here. But we have to have a reason that they can see that will, you know, we can bring them to Mercer County and they will excel. I guess to kind of wrap it up, as you see, you know, my sign here, it says it says common sense conservative. Common sense, it's what we all have to have. We have to have that in our houses, and we definitely need that in our county government. We've got to have that, and those conservative values, they're there. And that is what we need in our county government to spur the growth in this county. I just would appreciate, you know, your vote. We're going to get things going in the right direction. The county board that's seated now with the 4 that we have on there have done a great job, and there's more that needs to be done. And if we're going to run into some roadblocks here and there, it'll happen. But if we can get more good Republicans on that board, we will definitely be able to move this county forward. And I appreciate your time and thank you very much.
County Board District 2, Brian Ansu is a New Windsor resident and a neurologist who is an incumbent on the current county board. District 2 includes Rivoli, Green Townships, and part of Richland, Green Township. Dr. Brian Ansu.
Thanks. I never thought I was going to get involved in politics until 2010 when I saw how this county was headed. I decided to run for county board at that time because I wanted to change this county and the way it was going. It wasn't happening. After my election, I realized the truth of what this county was, where it was going and how it was going there. It was a sinking ship. We had essentially given away or sold all of our assets at basement bottom prices. We had no positive future ahead of time or looking forward for job growth. My idea when I got on there was to stimulate what our heritage is here, and we're a farming community. So I instituted 2 years ago an economic development plan through agritourism. And I worked on this for a summer and presented it to the current county board, or the county board at that time. And it was ridiculed, it was made fun of. They said that how are we going to change our economic status of this county with a bunch of fruit stands? Well, it was because of the ignorance of what agritourism is. Agritourism is one of the fastest growing industries in the state of Illinois. And with that, it led to the development of changes in zoning, which Ted was talking about earlier, that was placed. And it allows this county to build itself based on our agriculture heritage. We're surrounded by counties that do this. Henry County, south of here, Spoon River Drive, if you've ever drove through that, how busy that is. Iowa, vineyards and wineries on some of the country roads there. Now we have that opportunity to grow that base here. We had one of the people from Henry County, the head of the economic and tourism development there, talk about agritourism at our county board just recently. So this gives us an avenue to grow this county. Another thing that we were able to do, for the election, we got a referendum for constitutional concealed carry on the ballot that overwhelmingly passed in this county. Almost by 80% of the citizens said that they believe that a person has the right to carry a firearm to protect themselves, the Second Amendment. Now we see what's happened in the state. It's passed in the state. Illinois was going to be one of the last states to have concealed carry, but it's happening here. With the board that we have here with just 4 Republicans, we have made unbelievable changes in this county. As Ted was telling you about the deficit, how it's changed. This ship is not sinking any longer, and it's changed, it's heading in the right course. But as he also said, more Republicans on that board will change the board and change the county even further. And we have unlimited resources here. And we can be that little star of this state that is going down. People can look at Mercer County and say, look at what these people did. They took a sinking county, they turned it around. We are not raising taxes. We are balancing the budget, and we're going to be stimulating job growth.
District 4, Joe Van is a New Boston resident, retired from the Department of Defense. District 4 includes Duncan, Eliza, Millersburg, New Boston, and Perryton Township. Joe Van.
Well, I was not born in Mercer County. I'm here because I want to be here. And when people discover this county, they will want to be here too. We've been losing residents for years and years and years. Our population is going down, not up. How do we attract residents? Agribusiness, keeping our taxes low, and providing an opportunity for people to find employment. This is what we need to do. I spent 38 years in bomb disposal. In both the active duty,
And you still have your hands.
I still have my hand,
Must have been good.
all my limbs. I worked a lot of projects. I did it both as a civilian and military. I enjoyed it. I'm retired now, but I had the time. I'm also the treasurer of the Mercer County Republican Party. And just got a statement, the bank's being audited. Well, their figures for our account match my figures.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
To the penny. My wife is sitting there in the front row, she'll tell you I'm tight with a buck. I will keep a close rein if elected to the board. I ran a year ago. All the board seats were open. In a candidate of 4, I came in third, but I lost by 34 votes. Fred Ruth, current board member, received more votes than the other 3 candidates put together.
Fred.
Fred is a good man.
Yes, he is.
I consider Fred my friend. I want to sit on the board with Fred. And we will get along. We'll get along with these gentlemen. We will keep a balanced budget. If push comes to shove, we'll do what needs to be done. I thank you.
District 5, Mark Berry, an Aledo resident who owns General Grinding Machine, Mercer County's largest employer. District 5 includes the 5 precincts, all within the city of Aledo. Mark Berry.
Thanks, Barb. And first off, I commend Barb. I look at her nonstop. She just does anything and everything for this group. I'm the same with Jason, but like I say, as far as you around Barb, this is high energy, so it's a lot of fun to be around her. I could only hope to work that hard. As far as myself personally, you know, I've done a lot of complaining the last 2, 3, 4 years. I was pretty outspoken about the jail, about what I thought it was going to do to the community. I believe in the past is the past. I really don't want to talk about things that I think should have went wrong. It'd be pretty easy to pick on me for things that I've done that I should have done differently. I mean, I really don't believe in that. I think that's a lot of the problem with our current state and federal government. Let's forget about what's going on. What are we going to do about tomorrow? And that's really what I got up here for. 3 years ago, 2, I should have ran. I talked about it. We had some other candidates, and I was one of those people that said, okay, somebody else will do it. Somebody else is going to do it. It seemed like the easy thing to do, and I did let that happen. Now this time I decided I could have given myself multiple excuses about why I'm too busy, all these things that I could have made up to not be here. But I got up here because I believe this community, we got a lot of great things. But I have multiple employees that work for me that choose where they're going to live based on the taxes in this community. That's just one thing. I mean, we are still pushing over 20% of our employees, over 400 employees, not living in Mercer County. I'd like to see another, them 20% get to live here. We've got a great school system, we've got a lot of different things to offer, and it doesn't matter which school system you're talking about in Mercer County. There's 3 to actually be offered on the north end, there's a couple other choices. But I'd like to see that. I still think the small community, there's 16,000 people, it's a great place to raise your family. And like I say, I think I'd like to get up here for my kids, my grandkids.
Right.
And hopefully, I only have one goal, that's to balance that budget. I know these guys have done a lot of great things, but I'm looking at some other things that we're gonna have to do. And, you know, I said in my bio, our company, we're down about 10% this year. There's not one thing I can do about that, not one thing. But what I can control is expenses. And when it gets to the bottom line, if you're managing yourself at home like you expect us to manage, there's only one thing we can truly control, and that's gonna be the expenses. So that will be my goal, and like I say, I appreciate anyone's vote on this, and here we go. Well, we'll try.
Okay, and as I said, there'd be brighter days, and there's a reason for that. Because the candidates that have been up here and spoke with you tonight are quality candidates. They're good candidates, and they're first and foremost, they're going to be great for our county.
Right.
So, you know, I want to applaud all of you. At this time, I will go to the press if there's any questions. Okay.
I'm just gonna
I
do
got
one-on-ones.
Just a general question, you were talking about organization, keeping the deficit, or trying to reduce the deficit. As a party, is that the kind of the central theme of the party this time for the primary, and then secondly for the general election? Is the deficit one of the key issues, or the key issue?
Well, obviously, the deficit is important in all issues. If it's in your home, if it's in your government, that is going to be a very important issue. You know, I guess, could you say that's the theme of the party? It's a very critical point that we all need to look at, because it's one of the biggest factors, especially when you're looking at government, of why taxes increase and things like that. Any other questions? Okay, well, at that, we will conclude. You're more than welcome. There's coffee and there's cookies and there's some snacks over there. You're more than welcome to take those. Mingle, have a good time, and I thank you all for coming.